Florida, the state that once sold more Harley-Davidson motorcycles than any other in America, has now lost at least 6 authorized dealerships since January 2024, with multiple additional locations confirmed to be in active bankruptcy proceedings or negotiating emergency consolidations as of mid-2025. The state that was home to over 75 Harley dealerships at its peak has contracted to roughly 58 operating locations, and industry projections suggest that number will fall below 45 by the end of 2026. What makes Florida's dealership collapse uniquely devastating, and to many longtime riders uniquely deserved, is that these were the dealerships infamous for the most egregious markups in the country, routinely adding $3,000 to $7,000 in so-called market adjustments to bikes that sat unsold for months, while treating the state's massive retiree customer base as an inexhaustible ATM that would never stop dispensing cash. Florida's Harley-Davidson network is unraveling faster than anywhere else in the country. Since January 2024, at least 6 dealerships have vanished from the state's official roster, with more now in bankruptcy talks or negotiating last-ditch mergers. The contraction is not a blip, it's a free fall. From a peak of over 75 authorized dealers, Florida has dropped to about 58 operating locations by mid-2025. Industry projections warn that the number could fall below 45 before the end of 2026. The numbers are stark. Florida, which once accounted for an estimated 8 to 10% of all U.S. Harley retail sales, is hemorrhaging market share and physical presence at a rate unmatched by any other state. This is not just a story of a few rural outposts shutting their doors. The closures span every major region: Tampa Bay, the Space Coast, Jacksonville, Central Florida, leaving entire metro areas with empty showrooms and for lease signs where iconic neon once glowed. The scale of the collapse is visible in every metric: dealer count, sales volume, and the sheer speed of the decline. In less than 3 years, Florida's Harley footprint has shrunk by nearly a third, with no sign that the spiral has hit bottom. Florida's place in the Harley-Davidson universe has always been outsized. For decades, no state matched its combination of year-round riding, dense retiree populations, and the sheer scale of its biker economy. Major events like Daytona Bike Week, Biketoberfest, and Leesburg Bike Fest routinely drew more than 100,000 attendees each, transforming small cities into temporary capitals of American motorcycle culture. The economic gravity was immense. Daytona's Bike Week alone has been credited with pumping up to $600 million into Volusia County each year, and statewide, Harley sales and service revenue once topped $1 billion annually. But it wasn't just about volume. Florida's dealer network was built for an era of relentless demand, packing in one authorized Harley dealership for every 290,000 residents at its peak, a far denser grid than the national average of 1 per 380,000. This oversaturation wasn't a bug, it was a feature designed to capture every snowbird, retiree, and rallygoer with a taste for chrome. Showrooms clustered around event corridors, fighting for slices of a market that seemed bottomless. The result was a state where Harley's brand and lifestyle became woven into the local economy, tourism, and even real estate. That density and cultural weight now magnify every closure, every liquidation, and every empty lot. When Florida's Harley network falters, the aftershocks ripple through the entire national dealer system. Insurance costs in Florida have surged to levels that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. Homeowners now pay, on average, more than double what they did in 2019, with annual premiums topping $6,000, over 3 times the national average. For many Harley owners, that's just the beginning. Motorcycle insurance has climbed 30 to 50% since 2020, with full coverage for a $30,000 bike routinely exceeding $2,500 a year in South Florida, especially for older riders. Lydia Ortiz, a policy analyst, points out that the combination of hurricane risk, theft rates, and persistent litigation has made Florida the most expensive state in the country for insuring both homes and bikes. After Hurricane Ian's $112 billion in damages, insurers raised rates again or left the state entirely, leaving retirees to shoulder the burden. The impact is clear in dealer showrooms. Summer heat indexes above 105 degrees create a 4-month dead season, slashing foot traffic by 60 to 70%. With a shrinking retiree base and newcomers less interested in heavyweight cruisers, the pool of potential buyers keeps drying up. Dealers watch as costs climb and customer visits fall, squeezed from every direction by forces unique to Florida. Maria Gomez, who has managed one of Central Florida's largest Harley dealerships for over a decade, lays the numbers bare. At the start of 2025, her floor held 320 unsold bikes, half new and half used, each one a monthly liability. Dealers like hers face inventory exposure between 180 and 400 units at any moment, translating to $4 million to $10 million tied up, all financed on floor plan loans at 8 to 10% interest. That means annual carrying costs alone can hit $320,000 to $1 million, even before a single sale. With retail traffic collapsing, the math turns brutal. A 2021 Street Glide Special, purchased new for $33,000, now sits unsold at $18,500 on the used line. New bikes can't compete, so they gather dust, their value fading with every month of Florida sun. When lenders lose patience, forced liquidation begins. Bikes moved out at 20 to 35% below MSRP just to keep the bank from locking the doors. Gomez's books show the cycle. As inventory piles up, interest payments eat what little margin remains, and every discount sale deepens the hole. Dealers can't just wait for demand to return, because by then, the debt has already won. Dealer outrage boiled over in early 2024 as a group of Florida principals drafted a petition demanding Harley production and halting the flow of bikes they could not sell. The petition, circulated among the state's largest dealerships, called out the impossible math. New inventory arriving monthly, financed at 8 to 10% interest, while sales volumes cratered and used bikes flooded the market. But for many riders, sympathy was in short supply. Stories of $3,000 to $7,000 markups, $1,200 add-on packages, and opaque documentation fees had become legend on rider forums. Tom Rivera, a 68-year-old retiree, summed up the mood after walking away from a $45,000 invoice on a road glide he had configured online for $32,000. He itemized every fee, paint protection, dealer prep, insurance, then left the showroom, vowing never to return. Meanwhile, Indian Motorcycle seized the moment, announcing 3 new Florida locations in 2025 and advertising transparent, no markup pricing. Disillusioned Harley loyalists began to cross over, fueling a competitive threat that now felt existential for the state's remaining dealers. Patterns of dealer collapse in Florida echo a deeper structural unraveling, not just another economic cycle. The last major shock, 2008, closed about 15% of the state's Harley shops, but most bounced back within a few years. This time, recovery looks out of reach. The average Florida dealership lifespan has dropped from 24 years to just 19 in the past decade, a sign of mounting fragility. Behind the numbers, the core customer base is aging out fast. Baby boomers, who once made up 45% of buyers, now account for less than a third. The foundation that once made Florida Harley's crown jewel is eroding, with no generational replacement in sight. Analysts now warn that the contraction isn't close to bottoming out. Mike Bouchard, a veteran powersports consultant, puts Florida's future losses at another 30 to 40% by 2027. The break-even target, selling 35 to 50 new bikes a month, has become unreachable for most, with many stores averaging just 15 to 25. Overhead has surged by 45% in 5 years, driven by relentless insurance hikes and double-digit interest on floor plan loans. Bouchard's numbers are blunt. Dealers are paying $800 a month in interest for every unsold bike on the floor. That's not sustainable. It's a death spiral. Service deserts are now a reality for thousands of Florida riders. With each closure, the nearest authorized Harley shop can be 100 miles away, turning a simple warranty claim into an all-day ordeal. Laid-off mechanics and sales staff, anywhere from 20 to 60 per site, search for work in shrinking local economies, while once busy showrooms sit empty. Commercial vacancy rates in some corridors have climbed to 12%, with specialized buildings hard to repurpose. The ripple is felt far beyond the dealerships. Daytona Bike Week, once a $380 million anchor for the region, has seen revenue sag as the Harley crowd thins out. For riders like Tom Rivera, the collapse isn't just about lost convenience. It's the end of an era, and the community that once defined Florida's roads is left scattered and uncertain. Florida once set the pace for Harley's dominance. Now it's ground zero for collapse. With dealer counts down over 50%, insurance up 129%, and riders turning away, every unchecked excess has come home to roost. This isn't just Florida's reckoning, it's a warning for the entire industry.